everybody. Welcome to the PokerSesh. Okay. Let me take some puffs. Feel free to call in while I'm puffing. This is such a good cigar. Forbidden X from Opus. I know people love it when I just grunt and smoke cigars. That's the best part of the podcast. For you here. 631, you're on with Christian Soto. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Christian? What's up, Limon? It's ChipXtractor.
Oh, it's the ChipXtractor.
Oh man, this guy's famous.
Yeah, this guy's your biggest fan, man. When I said I was going to have you on the show, a lot of people were very happy, but I think ChipXtractor was the happiest. Do you guys, hey, ChipXtractor, do you play poker with Soto ChipXtractor, or is this he's just somebody that you like his training?
Well, you know, I have played with Christian on one occasion, but he plays a little higher than I generally play. But yeah, I've actually taken coaching from Christian.
Oh, nice.
Believe it or not, so I am a big fan of both him and Red Chip Poker.
Well, now you can ask any question that you would have had to pay for free. So go for it.
Well, you know, what I wanted to actually bring up was I know that you're a big East Coast player, obviously, Christian, and Limon is a West Coast guy. And all the time you'll hear Abe say how he thinks L.A. is the center of the poker universe.
That's true.
Which I think is actually a direct quote. So I wonder.
No, I say top of the food chain. Top of the food chain.
Oh, top of the food chain. Okay. Which I'm not so sure about. But recently I did a little video on that, comparing the games, at least what I thought in the lower stakes games. And my opinion is that the East Coast games are way tougher than the West Coast games. And I just wonder what you thought about that, either one of you, actually.
Right. I mean, I think personally, like, the best games right now are in Florida. And then I would say LA is like a close second. But I think the East Coast games are actually probably one of the tougher ones in the country. But, I mean, you know, it's obviously up to your opinion, obviously up to, like, your particular game style and stuff like that. But I think in terms of, like, order, it would probably be, like, Florida, then LA as a close second, and then Maryland Live has some really good games. And then, like, Board and stuff like that is probably a little bit tougher as you go up in state, obviously.
Have you played in all those places, Christian, or you're just sort of guessing at some of them?
I haven't played. No, I haven't played it in LA at all.
Okay.
I played a little bit in Florida and stuff like that, but yeah. But from like what I hear is like, you know, Florida has the softest game, especially like private games, and then like LA is like a closer second.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But I mean, obviously you would know, I guess, a little bit more.
Well, I've played in all those places except for Maryland Live. And that's why, you know, when I have Chad Power and Randall Graves on, they just say, like, you can't imagine what it's like at Maryland Live. But it sounds like that's really sort of dying down. It was sort of a bubble of sorts. The thing about L.A. is L.A. isn't a bubble in any way. L.A.'s been this way for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Ever since Gardena, I mean, there's a poker culture in L.A. That's why I say L.A. is the top of the food chain, not so much because the games are the toughest or the easiest, basically just because there's 5-6 casinos in the greater Los Angeles area every single night, spreading games from 1-2 to 10-20, of, you know, or 1-2 to 40-80 limit, or 1-2 to 5-5-10 pot limit Omaha. There's just so many games in Los Angeles. Then if you add in the private games, it just goes through the roof. It's basically the reason I say that is because of the game selection in Los Angeles. I don't think it compares to any place else.
Right. So your take on it is.
Go ahead, ChipXtractor.
Your take on it is availability of games, or
yeah. Basically, for a professional poker player who is willing to learn all the games and willing to search a little, I think that on a day in, day out, Los Angeles, California probably has the most good games available at mid-high stakes. That's just based on what I've seen when I've traveled around the country.
Right.
I agree.
It's just because there's so much money here. I mean, in LA, there's just so much money. That's what you need, basically. The thing that drives the games is money. I mean, if they found like a mountain made of gold in Omaha, Nebraska or something, then that would become the poker capital of the world for a while. It's just where the loose money is. That's why when they open a new casino in a place that never had a casino before, like Maryland Live, it's a gold mine for a little bit of time. It's like a gold rush.
I agree. I think that's exactly what happened. But what do you think about Florida though? That's been for a little while now, like the go-to place.
Yeah, I played in Florida a little. The thing about Florida is, it seemed like a lot of the games were sort of semi-private. Like you'd go in a casino and you'd see a game that you wanted to play in, like a 1025 Omaha or something, and they'd be like, "Oh no, that game's private. Those seats are locked up." And I don't know if you've come against that, but that really doesn't happen in Los Angeles. So I was a little taken aback by that.
That happens, yeah. Like the bigger games, especially like, I don't want to say too much, I guess, but yeah, they're definitely semi-private, and you need to like know somebody that knows somebody to get in. Which is, I mean, that's kind of like that in a little bit everywhere. Maybe not Los Angeles, but like the bigger games with whales in it, like. Right. There's usually you kind of have to know somebody.
Yeah, and I actually don't have a problem with that. And if I lived there, I would probably like it because I would definitely get in with those guys and get a seat in those games. But when you just show up from out of town and you can't get seats in games, it's a little disconcerting.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there should be like that, like. Kind of a little bit anywhere. Like I'm sure that there's private LA games that you play, and you've had whales, and you glad you were invited.
Right. So. Right. No, that's why I said if I lived there, I'd probably love it. I mean, coming in from out of town though, then you're just like, this isn't as good as where I came from. There's so many more games to get in. But I can see why people who live there love it. Like you get a bunch of Cuban guys in a game, and you're like, friends with them, and you're buying whatever it is Cubans drink. What do Cubans drink? Like me. Are you Cuban, Christian?
No, I'm not Cuban.
I mean, you look.
My girlfriend's Cuban.
You look vaguely Cuban. So I mean, they like. What's your nationality? Soto.
I'm Dominican.
Oh, Dominican. I went to the Dominican Republic. I loved it. I'm smoking a Dominican cigar right now. The games in.
I saw your. You actually had a whole show out of the Dominican.
Yeah, the games in the Dominican Republic were good, but too small, because they're raking basically $5 to $6 a hand, and the biggest game was 1-2. So on a $6 a hand rake at 1-2, even though the games were good, it didn't seem like a money making opportunity of any kind. Obviously. Living in Dominican Republic would have very low cost of living. I was trying to get the guys to straddle, because if you can add a straddle on, then at a $6 rake, a 1-2-4 game with a bunch of guys who really can't play at all is a good money making opportunity. I mean, you could probably easily, if you're the best player in the room, make $25 to $30 an hour in a 1-2-4 game with a $5 rake. At $30 an hour, $60,000 a year in the Dominican Republic, you'd live like a king. But
you live like a massive king.
But nobody would straddle. They were like 100% against it. So there was just no reason.
Should have thrown them a little bit of cigars. They would have done a little something.
Right. Yeah, that could be possible.
Throw a little cigars, maybe a woman in here and there, and then they'll straddle for you.
There might be. There might be private games in Dominican Republic that are really good.
Yeah, but you got to be so connected, and you might actually get killed. Like you definitely don't want to get into that.
Right? Yeah, it's definitely dangerous. Like a couple of times I because we drove all the way across the Dominican Republic, like literally the entire length of the island,
of the country,
wow. The entire country, and so. When we took a couple wrong turns and things got like massively sketchy, like beyond normal sketchy, like people stopping, like standing in the middle of the road to stop you from continuing to drive so that other people can like tap on your window. It's like, okay, I'm going to run somebody over right now because this is just crazy.
Wow.
And that's where we are. I'm going to take unknown number as my last call. Unknown number, you're on PokerSesh.
Do her titties hang low? Do they wobble to the
Oh,
flow?
jeez.
Little people.
Perfect ending. Perfect ending. That's it in a nutshell. All right, guys. Let's listen to some Fear and call it a night.